topic in psychology called metaphysics. What is metaphysics? Trying to find questions to answers to unanswered questions till now. What science has not been able to answer. Whether God exists, if exists, prove. What is he doing now? See, many a times you see an innocent guy getting punished, right? So people say, if the innocent guy is getting punished, if God is really there, if he is the one who is the controller of justice, then was God sleeping? So these are the questions which people try to question, critics. They talk about the transcendental world. See, this you call no? Swargam, that's what we call it, transcendental world, that there is world beyond the present universe. Christianity also talks about the abode of heaven. That's what Christianity also talks about, right? Hindu ideology also talks about. Why this is being so much talked about? Why this is being so much talked about? Heaven and hell. Peaceful life. Or it is peaceful or disciplined life? Okay. What Karl Marx's opinion on religion? Religion is the opium of masses. एक रिलीजन का गोली पिलाओ 10 साल सोएगा वो गोली खा के मोदी की जय करेगा 20 years, right? But why so much learned people are against religion? This has been found, no? Highly learned people with highest intelligence, they are negating religion as a dimension which should be given that much importance. Why is it so? Why is it so? See, as a kid in your teenage, if you tell your dad, I want to read Mahabharatam or Bhagavad Gita, he will slap you. He will say, पहले college का पढ़ाई complete कर, बाद में देखते हैं. Why is it so? Why in Hinduism, the tilt towards philosophical learning at that age, people say avoid. Why? Why your dad did not allow you to read Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharat when you were young, going to school or maybe college? Why is it so? But that is not so in Islam. That is not so in Christianity. See, going to temple is a process that they will ensure. Your parents will take you to temple every Saturday, every Monday, whatever is your belief system. But generally when you say, I want to read this, I want to know about this, why is it so? There is a hesitation in the parents to expose you to that dimensions of learning. Maybe they are afraid that you will become spiritual. They are afraid that, she has a point, they are afraid that you will become. Is it wrong? Being spiritual is wrong. Being religious is wrong. Is wrong. Why? Huh? Being spiritual is wrong? Then what is, how spiritualism is different to being spiritual and being religious are two different entities? What is the difference? Underlying difference क्या है? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. In Sikhism, there is a belief system that we should not cut our hair, right? So if there is a belief system, you should not cut our hair. The dimension they say is, if the God has given you hair on your head, there would be some scientific reason, because human beings are a result of evolution process. What the justification they say is, you in olden days, good olden days, if you have to punish somebody in a society, you will tell him you will roam for next 1 month without your headgear. So going out of your house without a headgear was deemed to be a punishment to somebody. So now what has happened? We all have got westernized properly. Maybe 400, 500 years of Western cultural influence, we all got swayed away. But see, that's the reason why when a religion or a dimension, if it is new, it tries to accommodate the shortcomings in the society in some dimensions, right? So that is where this system is trying to try to bring in a dimension which has not been given attention to. The people who are cutting their hair, it does not mean they are bad people, no, it never said so, but it prohibited very vehemently, because that is how not cutting the hair in Sikhism happens to be the core ideology of Sikhism. So that is when if somebody tries to make a law on that, definitely that will get protection of the constitution, because article 25 only, right? Article 25 can be invoked. The only religion where people are allowed to carry swords even today. Other religions do not have that. Even if I am traveling in my airplane, in an aeroplane, I can carry my sword with me in the airplane. But the thing is, when you board the flight, you are supposed to hand over that weapon, the sword to the crew, who will give it back to you when you deboard. That's how some arrangements have been made. So just imagine, a practice of a religious system has been given that much of sanctity that even constitution has incorporated that as part of the core functioning of the religion. But when you define or differentiate spirituality and religion, as she said, that religion is basically talking from the perspective of a practice, from the perspective of who has told, and a religion has a grouping dimension. Like if somebody is spiritual, he can be a Muslim, he can be a Christian, he can be a Hindu, he can be a Sikh, Buddha or Jain. But if somebody is religious, he has to be defined, his identity is restricted to as to belonging to that particular group only. So it means that a person can be irreligious, but at the same time can be spiritual. So spiritual in some dimensions comes above religious, yes or no? Because being spiritual, you are trying to go more closer to being, obviously, being more ethical. So that is how it tries to fill in the gap where probably see, no religion has what you call said violence should be the path, no. But our understanding, interpretational errors have happened. So now my question is, when you pray to the God or to the nature, whatsoever you belong to, what you should be asking for? It is said, my father always used to tell, whenever I used to pray, I was a foodie. I am a foodie even today also. I always used to pray, mere ko khana de do, aur kuch nahi chahiye. Even in that initial, what you do that? Anaprasan, what do you do that? Anaprasan, something where everything is kept. I always used to go, my mission was clear, the stomach should be full, the rest will be taken care of. But then over a period of time, he made me realize, see, whenever you go to mandir, you tell God, give me udyogam, give me a beautiful wife, that all my friends should envy me throughout the life. Koi koi nee ke dorkalara. Okay, then or you give good what you call Mercedes car. I am having only Alto. It's been 7 years. I need to change my. This is what we ask the God, right? But what are we supposed to ask? Peace of mind, to beta immediately quit UPSC. Not in the process of preparation, no. Quit UPSC if you make it. You will definitely not have this, for sure. Okay? Yeah. Then what will you pray to God? Kya do? What you will ask God ke mujhe do? Huh? Can I use a better word? Dhairya. Dhairya. More than courage, dhairya is the more apt word. Dhairya for what? Daring. Daring for what? To kill somebody. Then? Dhairyam to sit in 2 hours class of Oberoi sir, so that I should not be touched upon, he should not ask me a question. God, today save me, next week I will come prepared, even if he asks question I will be able to answer. What is the prayer? She said dhairyam, one dimension. Very important dimension. Always pray to the God to keep you as an enthusiastic person. If you are not an enthusiastic person, you can be depressing for somebody. If you are not an enthusiastic person, you can be depressing for your own self and with the person with whom you are about to begin your life. Parents cannot avoid you because they have to take care of you in some dimensions, but the other person has to be with you for the rest of your life. If you are not an enthusiastic person, depressed, सुबह उठते ही रोना शुरू करेगा, तो then gone. 1 week maximum. 8th day you will not find her or him. Nowadays it is very easy to get separated on flimsy excuses also, right? 4 things only you should ask. Most of the youth lacks this today. Lacks this today. If I use a terminology which you do not understand, భయపడిపోయి పారిపోతారు. అంతేగాని సార్ ఇది ఎందుకు చెప్పారు, why he used, let me discover, let me find out what is the vocabulary base, ఆ ఆలోచన ఉండదు. Because they do not have confidence on themselves. Can you imagine a bureaucrat who does not have confidence? Can you imagine a police officer wearing a uniform but lacking confidence to go to office? Can you imagine a police officer, there is a what you call criminal doing some criminal activity, he is not having the confidence to go and question him, who are you, what are you doing here, it is the wrong time, 2 o'clock in the night, you are supposed to be at home, why are you roaming on the street? Can you imagine any person who is holding a power of authority lacking confidence? So basic traits, right? Basic traits. And last, most important, if you make it in UPSC, pray to God in some dimensions, even if it is not given, it is okay. Patience. If you lack patience in UPSC, gaya. In life also. If you get a nagging partner, if you are impatient, if you are impulsive, if you show your anger, if it is a male, if you show your anger, that is the last time you will show your anger. उसके बाद you keep showing to wall, to ceiling, to floor, everything. ठीक है? So इसको never become impulsive. We in the forces there is a word for this called loose cannon. Loose cannon means a gun that can fire anytime. Anytime is called a loose cannon. If somebody senior is very high tempered guy, so we call him, he is a loose LC, we call it, he is a loose cannon yaar, ठीक है? So that is when we know that उसके पास जाना नहीं है, ठीक है? So that is when if you lack this and if you are impulsive, people will stop coming to you. People will start judging every act and every dimension of your decision making, thinking that he is an impulsive person. Your real quality, your real worth will come only when in difficult times you are behaving with patience. If you show up your anger in an impulsive way, you only show up your weakness to the other person. You should never show your weakness. Your weakness at max should be known only to you. If the other person knows, Aravid weakness, this dimension is his weakness, immediately you will getting exploited for your own weakness. So please do not show and try to develop this as your personality. Difficult for youth, I understand. सबसे ज़्यादा उबाल ना, जवानी का उबाल 16 to 24. This is the bracket which I personally feel 15, 16. Now that the puberty is advancing closer to 13s and 14s also. In some cases 14 also, but definitely 15, 16 is the bracket. After 24, you will see you have calmed down. See, for things that you would have killed somebody when you were 18, you will start sharing happily with others. See, as a kid, no, if somebody takes your toy, 3 hours you will cry. The moment you turn 12 years, you understand that toy has got no meaning. Let them take, because you got some other toy to play with in teenage in some dimensions. You understand this toy is more important than that toy. You will play with that toy for 6, 8 years. After 24, 25, you realize that toy is also not giving me, you know, what you call that peace of mind or something. That is when you realize why older people are more spiritual. Why that Jairam comes only after 40, 50, 60? Why not in 20s? Because your certain dimensions of your biology will change in certain ways that you only feel this is the connect, nothing else was the connect. Okay? So try to attain that at the earliest possible. ठीक है, attain that at the earliest possible. ठीक है, आज के लेक्चर के लिए इतना ही काफ़ी. तो मेरा शीट कहाँ है? There is an extra sheet. Yeah. है? Yeah. पवन तीसको. Yeah. कोनिडेला पवन कल्याण IAS. ఈ పిచ్చి పనులే చేయొద్దు అంట. He is praying for this to the God. He is not praying for. ठीक है, that's the problem. Pavan Kalyan IAS. Never have fixed approaches in life. Okay? Don't only fall for Preeti Zinta. Maybe you will get Aishwarya also. Take. If you become deserving, you will get. IAS बहुत लोगों को जाके सलाम भी मारता है. Don't forget that. ठीक है? चलो. Yeah. First article. This week there are some very important. One statutory warning I'll give. There are some very important articles this week which have been, you know, we have made some videos on YouTube. They are there. So please, when you go back, read, you know, see them also. None of the videos is crossing 12 or 13 minutes time. So the articles that have been covered or in the process of covering through YouTube, I am not discussing them here, so that it is only a repetition. So I suggest you go back and see those. Whatever I have not covered through YouTube, I am covering here. I am forcing you to open those videos. Why? Because in those videos, because every article I have given, you know, if I had to take a class half an hour में जितना मैं बता सकता था एक article, I have concised it and put it in those 12 to 13 minutes of videos. It is not with an intention to, you know, increase my subscription of YouTube. That is not the intention. The intention is to run YouTube also and this classroom as a parallel mode of education. That's the only intention. Okay? So because there is no other platform which can provide you that video, that is how I have gone to YouTube. Okay? By no chance you need not subscribe to it, but open and see. I have no problem with that. I am not doing any marketing here. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, the first article is presidential versus parliamentary form of government. How many of you polity as a subject has been covered in some dimensions? You are aware of polity in some dimensions? Most of you. Okay. There are a few new batch. What do you understand by the difference between parliamentary? Why do you need to have a definite form of government? Why there is a need to have a definite form of government, parliamentary or presidential? We can invent something else also, right? अरे भैया विश्व में this is one form of governing the country. These people also in some dimensions. Then you will have this is also in some dimensions. This is also in some dimensions, and the biggest culprit is in some dimension. Democracy. Democracy is a boon or bane to a country like India? ज़्यादा पढ़ने वाले बेन बोल रहे हैं. जो नया बच्चा है, democracy is God, sir. But do you think India is really democratic country? Why? Your prime minister is elected, भैया. Of the people, for the people, and by the people. Your own representative is ruling your country. You only voted, no? ऐसा तो नहीं है you voted on पवन कल्याण and vote मोदी को चला गया, ऐसा तो नहीं है. You only voted. हाँ? No other option. So lack of option के लिए उसको क्यों गाली मार रहा है? नहीं, the option is trying to improve here. Option is trying to work hard. See, for you the problem is to write and pass UPSC exam. For him the problem is that he has to prove to the country that I am a prime ministerial candidate. Who has a bigger problem? He has a bigger problem, no? वो बेचारा रोज 20 किलोमीटर चल रहा है. He is walking or running 20 kilometers every single day. तुमसे 1 किलोमीटर नहीं चला जा रहा है इंस्टीट्यूट आने के लिए. So that guy is his problems are bigger or your problems are bigger? His problems are much more bigger than you. Just imagine, you may think he is born with a golden spoon, but ever since he is born, probably he is only trying to prove himself. For last 40 plus years, how old is he? 52, right? So 50 साल से एक बंदा प्रूव कर रहा है कि I am a prime ministerial candidate, like writing UPSC every year for 50 years. Will he be happy? Try to understand. ठीक है, चलो. Now, when I say democracy, the form of governance, parliamentary or presidential, firstly we need to understand the difference between the two. What is when do you say it is a presidential form of government? How do you say this country is following presidential form of government? Who is the Prime Minister of USA? No Prime Minister of USA. There is only President. And their constitution said that we will follow presidential form of government and it will be a federation. That country is a federation where 50 different entities decided to form a single country. That is why it is called United States of America. The states who got united and formed United States of America, and they took that president should be ruling their country in some dimensions. When you say parliamentary form of government, when you are using the word parliamentary form of government, does it mean president is not powerful? It means that his powers will come only in an emergency situation. Otherwise, he said, "Bachcho tum desh chalao." The moment the bache are not doing the Desh Chalao program properly, that is when he will come into picture, because all the emergency powers are concentrated in his hand. If the governance, what is the first role of the president? What is the first function of the president? Preserve the constitutional. First line क्या है? Functions of the role of the president. How the role of president and judiciary are different? Then both are doing the same job, no? How is the role of Supreme Court and the president is different if both are trying to uphold the constitution? President is watchdog or Supreme Court is the watchdog of the constitution? Huh? Who is the guardian? कहाँ गया? Try to understand these dimensions. Those Lakshmikant, no? वो words को just don't flip through them. Each and every word in polity has a meaning. The reason why he is Prime Minister responsible for being the guardian of the constitution? Nowhere it is written. That is how President has been given a bigger role. But in that backdrop, why? Because this is a news. Your sister in the northeast, Bengal, what she said? The first line, what she said? The West Bengal Chief Minister alleged that there are attempts are being made for a presidential form of government in India. Now, what is she trying to tell? Even if it is presidential form of government in India, what will change? One thing that will change is the concentration of power. With whom? The president. That is where she says that this goes against the spirit of federalism. In that context she is making the statements. So because this news has come in Hindu, that is where it becomes critically significant. Now It says the reasons for taking parliamentary form of government. Why India embraced parliamentary form of government? What is the biggest reason, if somebody has to give? Though there are points, we'll discuss them one by one. Can acquaintance or familiarity? 1935 Government of India Act. It is said that our constitution majorly is a reflection of the Government of India Act 1935, and in that you talk about, okay, one more dimension, is this within the scope of the present government to change the form of governance from parliamentary to presidential? No. Why? So do you mean to say before the Keshavananda Bharati case, the basic structure of constitution, that you cannot change the basic structure of the constitution, there was a possibility of changing India's governance system from parliamentary to president? There is something known as basic structure of the constitution. What Supreme Court in one case like Keshavananda Bharati case, what Supreme Court said that we cannot change what is defined as the basic structure of the constitution, and certain topics it said India is a secular country, it is basic structure, you cannot change. Tomorrow you cannot bring a constitutional amendment and say that from tomorrow onwards India is a Hindu state, you cannot do that, India will remain to be a secular state. Same way they also said that the parliamentary form of governance is part of the basic structure of the constitution. It means that it cannot be changed. If that is the case, how a chief minister can make a statement like this? Do you think, you mean to say chief minister did not attend Indian polity classes? Huh? Or her advisors did not attend Indian polity classes, as a advisor ban gaye? How can she make a statement like that? Basically what she is trying to talk about is the present government is trying to concentrate power, and the other dimensions, without doing this they are trying to control the entire, and the civil services is also part of your unitary feature or federal feature? Hey, you are not part of federal feature, madam. Huh? You are the representatives of the central government working in the state government. So she says that you are already concentrating so much of power by using your bureaucrats to serve in the states, and now the states have started looking upon the bureaucrats as direct representatives of the central government. The amount of trust that has to be reposed on them is missing, and that trust is missing in the state of Telangana also. In many dimensions people are not being incorporated in the core decision making. They are only being given task, you execute this, you execute this, you execute this, because these people are being seen as some agents of the central government like that. That feeling has come, which is very bad. The intention of keeping that in the unitary is to uphold the unitary spirit of the country. But now because of the issue being getting politicized, now people have started looking upon. So do you think, a question can come, make a question once. Do you agree, right, mains ke liye, do you agree the basic structure doctrine, do you agree the basic structure doctrine, do you agree the basic structure doctrine impinges means impinges on our right to bring in drastic changes in the governance architecture, Comment, not critically comment, it is comment. So he is asking to give your pure opinion, okay? Comment, it is not critically comment. The answer will completely change if it is critically comment. Okay? Now, he is giving you reasons for adopting the parliamentary form of government. What is the first reason he is giving? The same point that we have discussed, the familiarity with the system through the Government of India Act. Second, he is making a statement here. The statement is more, मतलब क्या है, कौन बताएगा? What does it mean? What do you mean by more responsibility here? This guy is responsible to, not responsible to judiciary. मोदी गोली मार देगा, ठीक है? हाँ. You cannot say he is responsible to the judiciary. The judiciary will control his actions in some dimensions only when they are unconstitutional, otherwise not. ठीक है? So try to understand. The responsibility of the executive is only to the judiciary. Then do you mean to say the president is not responsible in a presidential form of government? How this responsibility is ensured? How you are saying it is more responsible in that case? Huh?
Act should be passed from legislative to bills.
Council of Ministers will act as the unit.
Wait, she's got a point. Council of Ministers?
Ministers will act as one. Means they will sync and they both will act as all the Council of Ministers. If they fail, they will go.
Okay.
They will act as one unity.
No, but how are you ensuring more responsibility? That's what I am saying. In your parliamentary system, once Modi is brought to power, can you remove him? How?
Through no conference.
That's what she is saying, no? All Council of Ministers, chatti batti those. How do you do? Is there a system of recalling? Then how can you in that case, in the absence of recalling procedure, how can you say they are more responsible? 5 साल फिर से 2000 रुपए. हाँ. How do you ensure responsibility when they are in the government? That's what is my question. How is parliamentary form of government ensuring that? Okay, one is the role of opposition. Good Kaumudi. Role of opposition. Huh?
Civil society activism.
Modi and civil society. Good. Okay. अरे within the features of the constitution. अभी मत जाओ जुडिशरी के पास, कुछ और within that. Biggest problem, ठीक है? This is one dimension that controls your executive very strongly. That point should come. Then you talk about pressure groups. Then you talk about, see, the day you understand that these two people are hand in gloves, your learning is nearing completion. The day you understand that these two people are hand in gloves, okay, that day your preparation is going on in the right direction. There are many cases, no, where this guy is completely silent. Yes or no? Why? You see very recently, no, Azam Khan, no, उसके साथ एक और भी convict हुआ था ना? अरे yes or no? Oh, article is there, I think today's this only. Why action is being taken against Azam Khan? Why the action is not being taken against the other person? Because one belongs to one religion and one belongs to other religion. So if this guy is the watchdog of the constitution, why is he sleeping? हाँ? The Citizenship Amendment Act 3 साल हो गया, 2019, फर्स्ट हियरिंग भी नहीं हुआ. Do you take 3 years? So is it not selective silence? So don't you think these two are hand in gloves? But don't write in the exam like that. ठीक है? Even if you write, keep your language subtle. Keep your language subtle. You write, you know, the silence of judiciary on these dimensions provokes us to think whether judiciary is really a watchdog of the constitution or is it just pretending to be one. Yes or no? So the NJSC, you immediately struck it down, no? एक हफ्ते में NJSC को हटा दिया. National जुडिशियल अपॉइंटमेंट्स कमीशन, तो CAA को क्यों नहीं हटाया? Yes or no? That is when the dimensions of due process of law and the procedure established by law will come into play. जो तुम ऐसे ही passing reference में पढ़ के छोड़ देते हो, वो dimensions will come into play. At that level you will understand. What is the next question? Need to avoid legislative executive conflicts. See, always these two people are fighting. Always these two people here, not in India, they are fighting. See, are you following US Constitution by any chance? By in news, nothing much. There is always a tussle between these two entities. If he abruptly says yes to something, they will say, "Beta ruk ja, we are also here, don't be in a hurry." And if they send something, if this guy for the first time returns, it is okay. If they send it second time, it does not need his signature. I hope you are aware. The act automatically, the bill automatically becomes the act if the Congress has for the second time approved it, his role is nullified. So it means that if the legislature is reiterating upon a point, the permission of the executive is not mandatory. So it is only ruling out the possibility of this guy becoming autocratic. So that is how they are trying to ensure conflicts, because it will definitely happen. Maybe he is driven by some other dimension, they are driven by some other dimension. So it acts as a very big check mechanism on him. So like this, there should not be. What is the difference between executive and legislature? कौन बताएगा? Simple terms. No crowd talking. हाँ बोल अखिल. No, I want much more further simplification. Much more further simplification. How do you differentiate? This girl is also a member of parliament. This boy is also a member of parliament. But I said she is executive, but I told he is legislature. What is the difference? What? No crowd answers. कौन बताए? कौन बताएगा हाथ ऊपर? आंसर कौन बताए? Appointed नहीं. हाँ संध्या. What power? What power? हाँ.
If a member of parliament is appointed to the office of profit, he becomes a part of executive.
ऑफिस ऑफ प्रॉफिट को इधर क्यों लेकर आए? हाँ नागार्जुन. अरे सिंपल डिफरेंस. व्हाट? हु इज कॉल्ड? इज योर प्राइम मिनिस्टर एग्जीक्यूटिव? यस राइट. It means that he is not part of legislature. Then why are you calling him executive? Basic difference क्या है? What is the in parliament 3 pillars? No. Parliament बोला, judiciary क्यों बोल रहे हो? Executive, legislature, president. तीसरा president है. Now when I am saying he is prime minister is executive, does it mean he is not a part of legislature? अरे वो भी तो बैठ के पास काम कर रहा है ना लेजिस्लेचर का. Then how are you differentiating between these two entities? Who is this person? And why this person is different to this person? Beta, everybody in the Lok Sabha elected other than the nominated. हाँ. I have given him ministerial post. That is the reason why this guy has become part of. There are many, there are many MLAs and MPs, who are just members of the parliament and do not have any ministry, responsibility being given to them. So if there are people who are in the parliament but did not get any ministry, whether Minister of State or Minister of Home or anything, they are part of members of the parliament. They are part of pure legislature. And executive, the moment I say you are given the responsibility of Minister of Home, Minister of State, so it means that he is not only part of legislature, he is also part of the executive. And now it is the responsibility of the core legislatures in some dimensions to control the executives also. Why? Because these are the members of the parliament or the state legislative assembly who despite the fact that they have also won the election but they did not get any ministerial post. So now the responsibility of drafting the acts and all is a combined effort, but the checks and balances ke liye they become separate and these people become separate. So that is why it is said the executive is responsible to the legislature, because these people are the true representatives of the people, no, who got elected. She said directly elected. So directly elected, it means that is how the executive is responsible to the people. That is how, by the people, for the people and of the people. It comes here. If this responsibility is not there, what will happen? If there is no responsibility towards legislature of the executive, what is the end result? Autocracy. End result is autocracy, which is already there in some dimensions, which is already there. It will become more pronounced. Okay? So try to understand the points at their core level so that you will be able to write the answers better. Okay? Now it says that in need to avoid legislative executive conflicts, the framers of the constitution wanted to avoid the conflicts between the legislature and executive which are bound to occur in presidential system that is prevalent in the United States of America. Okay? And the next is the nature of Indian society. What is he trying to say by adding the word nature of Indian society? What is this he is trying to say, nature of Indian society? Because, and how do you ensure that diversity gets representation in a parliamentary form of governance? Reservation तो तुम presidential में भी दो. Who is stopping you? How are you ensuring that diversity is getting that representation only in parliamentary form of government but not in presidential? How are you saying that? On what premise you are making that statement? Huh? How is the Congress formed? One of box. How is the Congress of USA formed? How is the Congress of USA formed? हाँ, कौन बताएगा?
Fixed number of seats for each state.
हाँ. So you also have that, no?
But also based on population.
हाँ. The Congress formation is in some dimensions fixed. Per state, 2 representatives. But when it comes to India, when you determine the parliamentary constituencies, no, you talk about parliamentary constituencies. We have blocked it till 2026 tak. You said this will be the number of people in the 545, sure? हाँ. अरे 9 छोड़ दो यार, होने कितने चाहिए? 545 ना? हाँ, 9 छोड़ दो, एक मर गया होगा कल रात, हमको क्या पता? ठीक है ना? 545. Now, if this is 545 for a country, see, India is a subcontinent. Imagine India including Pakistan, West and East Pakistan. Just imagine the size and diversity. And if you say from a princely state or from a so-called state, I will send only 2 people. Maybe at max 100. अगर 50 भी princely state को हमने ये किया, क्लब करके एक स्टेट बना दिया, 50 states will assume, and you send 2, 3 or 4, maximum 200. In a state, there are so many groups, there are so many subsections in the society. It may so happen that the dominant class will entirely dominate the political spectrum. So that is the reason why India did not choose this kind of what you call parliament, this kind of what we call it governance structure, you can say. Okay? So that is why you went for parliamentary form. ऐसे फालतू सवाल इंटरव्यू में पूछते एंड 10 पढ़े लिखे लोग एक बेवकूफ आदमी से ऐसे सवाल पूछते. ठीक है? Why India adopted parliamentary form of government? एंड इफ यू गिव द आंसर जो पॉइंट में लिखा है सर फेमिलियरिटी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया बोलेगा नेक्स्ट, देन यू विल से रिमेंबर अच्छा प्रेफरेंस टू मोर रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मोदी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डज नॉट मैच नेक्स्ट, then you should know the core dimensions, how it is different from other country and why we adopted this dimension. ठीक है, that is why it is said Ambedkar की जितनी तारीफ की जाए, people say no Ambedkar wrote your constitution, but he really did he write the constitution? Who wrote? People who are responsible for other, he only compiled, but the best part is he deleted what he felt. He was the DTP operator of the constitution. He entered only what he felt is right. That is why he is called Vice Democrat. You know what was the reason? One dimension he was called the Vice Democrat. One dimension. शायद पुराने वाले बच्चों के हमने मेंस का आंसर भी दिया था, if I remember it correctly. Why Ambedkar is only referred to as the Vice Democrat? What was that wiseness that he showed, which others could not show? He vehemently objected to the separate flag and separate constitution for the J&K, and even the reservation that he fought for, he was not wanting to give that also in permanent dimension. So that is why, because though he supported a cause and he knew that if this reservation system continues for a longer period of time, it will definitely have negative impact, and that is the reason why though he supported their cause, but he said it should be only given as a temporary provision. That is these are the reasons why he is called the Vice Democrat. Okay? Now, difference we have covered. The first article, anything, please just have a read. What do you understand by this word legal responsibility? What do you understand by this word legal responsibility? कौन बताएगा? Legal responsibility. No, that is not legal responsibility. What is legal? Ma'am, can you try? What is legal responsibility? They? But then that is not legal. Nobody is forcing you. See, if a big rail accident happens, people go to railway office, no? Railway minister down. वो बेचारा वो थोड़ी ड्राइवर था, ड्राइवर तो दारू पी के चला रहा था. तो why you said the railway minister is responsible for the action? Is he supposed to ensure that the driver is not drunk when he is coming on duty? Then why are you? Then what do you understand by the word legal responsibility?
Lawful responsibility.
Can you elaborate?
Should be in terms with our IPC, should be in terms with the law. Otherwise they can be punished. Maintain a responsibility.
He's coming.
Any policy decision taken by minister, they will be responsible, not the bureaucrat.
No. See, he is half right. खोते start अच्छा किया. See, the legal responsibility means if they make one policy and there was a negative outcome of that policy, of that policy. Some people died as a direct consequence of that policy. The minister cannot be made legally responsible for the death of those people. That is the beauty of legal responsibility. It is not there here. It is there in Britain. तुम गलत बनाएगा कानून, कोई मरेगा, साला तू जेल जाएगा. बट इंडिया में ऐसा नहीं है. You have not given legal responsibility to the ministers. And why is it so? How can you justify that?
Different cultures, diversity.
How can don't you think this is escapism? Yes or no? Don't you think it is high time that legal responsibility should be made intrinsic to your governance structure? If a policy decision turns out to be bad, the person who had taken that policy decision should be made responsible for the outcomes. Yes or no? So try to elevate your answers when you write these points in some dimensions. Okay? It is amend the constitution, judiciary will be more than happy. उसका काम कम हो जाएगा. No, the point is why it was not done at that. Now, why are you accepting firstly in 21st century an illiterate person to rule you? It is your fault. What is the literacy rate today? 70%, bracket 70%. So why are you choosing people from the 30% only to rule you? Till how many years you will take this excuse? There are many illiterate people. So why are you choosing illiterate people as your leader? Then who is more illiterate? है कि नहीं? Now the times have come, that is when we need to start question. See, at panchayat level you said minimum, but a prime minister can be, but at panchayat level you want. Why? Don't you think time has come? Write a question. నెమ్మది ఎమోషనల్ అయిపోకు చెప్పు.
నెక్స్ట్ ఎలక్షన్స్ లో పార్టిసిపేట్ చేయాలంటే జనాలు అతన్ని నమ్మి ఓట్లు వేయరు కదా సార్.
ఎందుకు?
ఎందుకు చేస్తారు? అందిస్తామని అడుగుతారు తప్ప, ఓటుకి అందిస్తామని అడుగుతారు తప్ప.
అది ఫాల్ట్ ఇస్ యూ నో.
అది ప్రజలే తప్పు కదా, ప్రజలదే తప్పు.
మునుగోడు ఎలక్షన్స్లో ఎలక్షన్స్ అయ్యాయి. అందులో ఒక కాన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఒక విలేజ్లో మాకు డబ్బులు అందరికీ ఇవ్వట్లేదని వాళ్ళు బ్యాన్ చేశారు తెలంగాణ.
See, that's the problem is that I told you we are selfish to the core, no? మనకి 2000, the beauty is after taking that 2000 also you don't know whether he will vote for you or not. That's the best part. So cheating is there in our genes. It is there. If some cheating had not been done in 1757, you would not have been ruled by Britishers for 200 years. If some cheating was not done 500 before 1757, somebody would not have come from somewhere to rule you. Your people invited the invaders to come and attack India. If you study history, you will understand. You invited people, come, loot. This is what we belong to. Why do you should look for problems outside? The problem is inside. The problem has never been outside. Nobody, the invaders who failed elsewhere in the invasions in the world, they succeeded in India. Why? Because we only went and told all the loopholes to them. That is what we belong, that is our history. So you will have to accept and gulp that history also. Okay? Not only Vivekananda's history. Okay, chalo, next topic. DNA testing surrounding legislations in India. Very important topic from prelims perspective, and basically this topic is important in governance when they are talking about justice and justice versus. See, I told you we are in societal dimensions, we are moving from collectivism to individualism. In societal dimensions, I told you we are moving collectivism to, that's what I told you, no? Individualism. Here justice represents collectivism, privacy represents individualism. Try to understand the difference between this. Okay? See, gone are the days when people used to say, like probably, I don't know, some of you would have heard your mother saying, because of you, I stayed with your dad. Had you not been there, I would have left him long back. Yes or no? Because the collectivism in this dimension is coming from society, that family, the bonding of the family. Probably you will not ever make this statement to your children. You will say, I left him because of you. Okay? That is how you are going more closer to individualism than collectivism. There is nothing wrong. Okay? That is how the societal evolution happens. Okay? Then it says recently the Supreme Court has voiced concerns over the increasing use of DNA testing to prove a particular case. It says that a very judicial decision has to be taken. Why? Because see, if somebody is taking your hair sample for some DNA testing or some other body part for your DNA testing, it means they are intruding into your private space, intruding into your private space. What the Supreme Court says, more and more complaints are seeking DNA tests. Such requests are increasing by around 20% each year. DNA Forensic Laboratory Private Limited says it tests around 300 to 400 samples each month that are both private requests and court mandated. The numbers were only around 30 to 40 till 5 years ago. The DNA Forensics Laboratory Private Limited is one of the biggest centers which is accredited with the National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories. Please Google about NABL, very important for your exam. NABL, there are some core functions of NABL, please make a list of that. The Supreme Court recently held that compelling an unwilling person to undergo a DNA test would be violation of his or her personal liberty and right to privacy. Here the court is turning the spotlight on spreading the use of technology that aids the cause of justice on the one hand but violates privacy on the other hand. So this is one dimension. And what is the global scenario? While the 3000 odd DNA tests Indian labs perform annually is minuscule compared to 70 other countries that rely on DNA technology. So though you are doing around 3000 to 4000 tests per annum, when I compare it with the global average, it is far less. It is far less. Okay? And what are the various legislations? Very important, underline section 53 of the CRPC. It talks about authorizes a police officer for getting the assistance of a medical practitioner in good faith for the purpose of investigation. Underline the word in good faith. That is the most important dimension. Okay? This section does not enable to collect blood, semen, etc. for bringing the charges against a person. Here you have to get a court's order. The police officer's authority is not sufficient in this case. And what does the court say? Courts are also reluctant to use the DNA test technique because there are serious questions raised regarding the right to privacy, which comes under Article 21 of the Constitution, and the right against self-incrimination, which comes under 20 subsection 3 of the self-incrimination. Underline the word. What is self-incrimination? Kaun batayega? What is self-incrimination? Who will tell? Kaumudi. Self-incrimination. तेरा नाम कौमुदी है? हाँ, सेल्फ इंक्रिमिनेशन. हाँ, सेल्फ इंक्रिमिनेशन. No. Acting as a witness against. Can you go and tell in the court कि सर मैंने ही, एक मूवी था ना, what was that movie? Junior NTR. हाँ. Last scene. He will tell there were not 4 people who committed the crime of rape. There were. I was also there. वो चारों के लिए ऐसा ये कब हुआ? You getting my point? What he did? He. See, there is a difference between accepting the guilt and self-incrimination. The judge will ask not the initial stages of what you call litigation, in the starting process only, do you plead guilty or not guilty? So at that stage, pleading guilty is not self-incrimination. Going to the court and giving, sir, see, yesterday in the crime of scene, I went there at 8 o'clock in the evening, I was physically present, please hang me up to death. This is self-incrimination. So the Constitution provides you natural protection against self-incrimination. This is primarily given because maybe the police forces or the state executive can force you to be a witness against your own self. So that is the reason why, to safeguard your personal liberty, 20 subsection 3, Article 20 subsection 3 of the Constitution safeguards you from self-incriminating yourself under undue pressure by some other external forces. It could be government, police, or anybody for that matter. Okay? Now, it is talking about the DNA technology use and application regulation bill 2019, in which it says that the DNA testing will only be allowed for the identification of the person with is related to the matter, which is related to the matter which is listed in the bill, which is as follows. So only in these dimensions for offences under IPC, offences which are in special laws such as immoral trafficking, domestic violence, civil right violation, motor vehicle acts, etc. In civil matters in which there is a parental dispute where it is necessary for a DNA test for the identification of parent and child. Many people come, no, once somebody is died, 1000 crores of property, he was my father. So in these cases also the DNA testing is also resorted to. Okay. Now what is the next topic? The next topic is about in Supreme Court one guy filed a case saying that the first amendment to the constitution is itself is arbitrary and it was against the basic structure doctrine. He says that the first amendment to the constitution should be nullified. This is a huge chapter, but I will try to sum it up in 5 to 7 minutes only. But otherwise, if you see the section, so many additions and alterations have happened, and in this article only the 9th schedule will come. Very important, when you learn the 9th schedule in your polity class, this is one schedule. If the state makes a law, even the union government, even the court cannot intervene. Only dimension it can intervene is through what we call it, if the state government makes a law under the 9th schedule, it is said that the Supreme Court also cannot intervene. It can only intervene if that law is against the basic structure doctrine, otherwise it cannot. And this was also established lately. Before that it is said, if in these dimensions the state government makes a law, the Supreme Court also cannot intervene. Now your homework is which were these laws. 9th schedule, make a box. 9th schedule, laws made by state, Supreme Court, no judicial review, question mark, which were these laws? थोड़ा Google करो, मिलेगा. See, what does it say? The Supreme Court agreed to examine a PIL challenging changes made to the right to freedom of speech and expression by the first amendment to the Constitution in 1951, with the petitioner contending that the amendment damages the basic structure doctrine. What it says? The first amendment to the Constitution altered articles 15, 15.3, 46, 341, 342, 372 and 376. Empowering states to make any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Post the amendment, the state is prevented from enacting laws curbing citizens' rights to freedom of expression and to practice any trade, occupation or business. क्या समझ में आया? कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आया सर, है ना? Or yes or no? What it is saying, read word by word. The first amendment to the Constitution amended these many articles. Article 15 subsection 3, then Article 46, then Article 341, 342, 372 and 376. We will not get into the articles per se individually, but what it is saying, the first amendment to the article altered this, empowering the states to make, this is empowering the states to make laws, any special provisions for the advancement of certain category of people. Empowering the state, because it means that these sections did not initially allow the state to make certain provisions. So by amending these sections, it gave the states the right to make certain laws for protecting this section of people, socially, educationally backward, scheduled caste and also scheduled tribes. Then it says, post the amendment, the state is also prevented from enacting laws. Prevented, here it is empowering, now it is preventing. So it is both. What it is preventing from? It is preventing the state from enacting laws curbing certain citizen rights to freedom of expression and to practice any trade, occupation or business. Very, very important dimension. So it means that in certain dimension, the state also cannot intervene in the right of freedom of expression of an individual, in the right of carrying out any particular trade or any occupation or particular business. And what are the features? It also prevents the states from making laws permitting them to acquire any citizen's estate. This was done because this is when immediately the right to property came as a question of debate immediately when the constitution came into force. When did the constitution come into force? When did the constitution come into force? Acha, when did the constitution fully come into force? Bol beta. She said one date, 26th January 1950. Yes or no? How many say yes? Uday. Correct kada? Good. And which were the sections that came into force? 49 November, 26th November. And chalo. Citizenship, elections and मुश्किल है बॉक्स बनाओ. 26 नवंबर नेक्स्ट वीक एक प्रीलिम्स क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा इसमें. पढ़ के आना, देखते हैं कितने लोग सही आंसर देते हैं. पढ़ के आना, फिर देखते हैं कितने लोग सही आंसर देते हैं. ठीक, चलो. The amendment also added a 9th schedule. I spoke about this. The amendment also added the 9th schedule. So if a statement comes, the first amendment to the constitution added the 9th schedule to the constitution, right or wrong? It is right, the 9th schedule. What it says? Listing a number of state laws which cannot be challenged in the courts. But the amendment also introduced 3 new exceptions to the right to free speech. Now citizens did not have the right to speak freely if their words imperiled public order, incited the commission of an offence or affected the friendly relations with foreign countries. So this is where your history of, which is this article, article 20, 19, 20, 21 कौन सा है? 19 subsection 2, अरे yes or no? 19 subsection 2, article 19 subsection 2. కొత్త పిల్లలు ఆర్టికల్స్ రాసుకోండి, ఇంటికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత చదువుకోండి. ఓకే, యా. And what are the other changes? Empowering the president or governor to summon or prorogue each house for a session in an interval of less than 6 months. Second, disallowing the judges who are not Indian citizens, very important, from being appointed as chief justices of any high court. Can anybody say why this came? Provision disallowing judges who are not Indian citizens from being appointed as chief justices of high court. Arey, ye, what was the requirement to do this? This is happening on what date? 1951. 1951 में what was the reason to bring in a law to tell you that you need to be an Indian citizen to become the chief justice of any high court? One answer he has given. Before this, even today there is no FDI in certain sectors. Foreign direct investment, FDI. Your judiciary is the first point, no? Why? Let a white man come and sit as your judge, no? Why are you not allowing? Because of your past experiences. So the moment this was done, it means that all the whites who were judges at various levels of high courts or supreme courts, we told them, nice meeting you, because you have to be a Indian citizen. So that is how you said bye bye to everybody. Very important. Or the judges of any other court and disallowing the president from modifying any law within 3 years from the commencement of the constitution. Very important. What they said, the president cannot modify any law. Why? इसको क्यों लिखने की जरूरत पड़ी deliberately that the president cannot modify any law till 3 years? Why they are saying president? Can a president modify your law today? Then why are they implicitly telling president cannot modify any law? Huh? Why they are saying in 1951 that president cannot modify any law for next 3 years from the date the constitution has come into force? So now my question is, can your president today modify a law? Okay, one dimension is the ordinance. What happened is, the moment these many amendments happened, no, they feared. The fear was, did we adopt the right constitution or not? You getting my point? Because you are just born. Just imagine, you've been given a name. Your name was Chintu. You did not like it. You hated people calling you Chintu, but you are just born. Can you express, "Ore vedava, nannu Chintu ani pilavaku, naaku ishtam ledu"? Can you do that? The problem is, when India was born as a young nation, the moment through the first amendment only these, that's why we say no, there were very few amendments to the US. Which is the current serial of amendment to the constitution? 1. What is the current serial number of the amendment of the constitution? India, apna India, INDIA. किधर है बेटा तू? बनो. Make a list of last 10 amendments of the constitution. So and so amendment, what is related to last 10 amendments, very important. There may be a possibility the constitutional amendment number may be senior, but it would have got amended later. Some other number would have got amended before, though the number would be higher. So 101 amendment would have happened in 2015 and 105 amendment could have happened in 2013 also. Possible?
Chemistry the periodic table elements ki mundugane space ichinattu amendments ki mundugane space ichestara. Mara how is it possible, sir?
Adugutunnanu. I am asking you the question. I did not make an answer. I am asking you a question. Can it so happen 101 amendment 2015, 105th amendment 2013? Can it happen? Yes, madam. The reason why they mentioned the commencement of the constitution is because there was a fear. The fear was because we had borrowed most of the provisions from left, right and center, right? So is it the constitution meant for my country or not? So the reason for stopping him from initiating any amendment process was to ensure that in a spur of the moment, as a reaction, we should not amend the major provisions of the constitution. That is the why I asked the question is, how many times the US constitution has been amended today. If you compare their serial number with our serial number, you will be surprised to know that their constitution has been amended very few times. So why it is so? Is it a result of very good drafting? No, it is not a result of very good drafting. It is a direct result of the circumstances on ground. You have a complete, from what you call desert to mountains, from peninsular to what you call the rainy areas, the marshland, everything you have. Temperate what you call weather conditions are there, tropical weather conditions are there, and people from extreme diversities you have. So that is the reason why your constitution has become so big, and if you have to keep it in matching in time, you have to carry out amendment, because it was not so there, because the diversity was very narrowed there, but here it is very broad, so it will end up like that. and on top of it, it is a parliamentary form of government. So obviously you will have to accommodate the interests and the wishes of so many diverse societies. So that is the reason why there was very few amendments there and very large amendments in our country, to ensure that this should not become the order of the day, that every day one constitutional amendment bill is coming for passing. So he said, at least one dimension, let me downsize it. So that is how the president was told, for 3 years beta just be a spectator, baki hum samal lenge. That is what exactly also happened. Now make a box. Till now, how many times the US constitution has been amended? Don't have to know which amendment what and all, not required. Just try to understand how many. या फिर type करो why the US constitution has not been amended so many times. ठीक है? So these dimensions are very important.
అంటే 101 అమెండ్మెంట్ 2016 లో చేసి
पास ఎప్పుడు అయింది అనే dimension. हाँ चलो इसका आंसर बताओ भाई. Somebody said yes, it is possible. Somebody said yes, it is possible. Somebody said no, it is not possible. No, 1 vote. I know 1 vote. You only gave, right? 1 vote. Huh. How many? Prem Lata also says no, it is not possible. हाँ इतने लोगों ने yes बोला ना, जवाब तो दो. हाँ yes. हाँ tell me, how is it possible?
There is some legal disputes when the amendment of the act.
Sir, for example, the 101th amendment bill can be presented in the parliament, but the time for its discussion is so long that the necessity for next amendment arises and the next one is passed before the current one.
So will you give the number to that?
Because the bill is presented,
For the
sequencing purpose, the bill is already presented 101.
हाँ.
We need to pass urgently 102.
Say for example, 101 amendment किसके ऊपर था? Assume 103 किस पे था? Right? When this got passed? Hey. When did this get passed?
19.
ठीक है? Now we know it is falling in sequence. For example, both are in discussion. अभी कोई भी pass नहीं हुआ. ठीक है? This is 103rd constitutional amendment passed in 2017. Assumption for the sake of discussion. And this is still pending. For example, this is still pending. You mean to say that this will move into this? ये बोलना चाह रहे हो? Then this is what you said, no? Serial number maintain कुछ तो बोला, master roll maintain करना है. You said master roll has to be maintained, no? Which is the amendment to the constitution which is asking for 33% reservation to the women? Huh? Women should know. Huh? Huh? Rashmi, do Google, jaldi karo. All the women, please Google. Men don't Google. We are not ready to give. So we should not Google. Let them Google. Let them know. 33% reservation to the women in parliament. Constitutional amendment number. ये भी बोलना पड़ेगा. हाँ. Any man knows? We are not bound to know. अरे इतना टाइम क्यों लग रहा है? 10? Giving. This is a classic example of patriarchal society in India. हाँ. Now this is pending. Now this is pending. मान लो 109 got passed. So do you mean to say this subject will get this number because this is pending. That's what you both said, no?
नंबर भी नहीं चाहिए 109 का 109 ही रहेगा
हाँ, फिर क्या चेंज होगा?
सब्जेक्ट भी वही रहेगा
हाँ.
108 अगर पास रिजेक्ट हो गया तो वो नंबर भी चेंज होगा वो सब्जेक्ट ऊपर आएगा 108
Can anybody explain what is he telling? Huh? But he is saying it will change. No, right?
if 108 gets rejected
No. He is using the word. Now that you got the word rejected, when will a bill get rejected?
if parliament doesn't approve or the president rejects
President can he reject? अब फिर कई स्टेटमेंट क्यों दे रहा है? Your president is only, ठीक है? The changing of the sequencing will not happen. Please understand. अगर उसके साथ है वो उसके साथ ही रह जाएगा. Why? Because what will happen is in future if they have to make any reference to that particular subject in the constitutional amendment, they cannot do that if that number is given to somebody else. You getting my point? If this one, whenever this will pass, it will have to be given. That is the problem. Okay? So that is how it has to get that particular number only. Okay? Chalo. Next. What is the next act? Next क्या है? What is the news? Fake news. What is this election management bodies? Who are them? Who are these election management bodies? अरे who are these election management bodies? कौन है ये? हाँ? अरे the chief election commissioner was addressing an international conference for election management bodies hosted by the Election Commission of India. The conference was held under the aegis of United States Summit for Democracy platform. Summit for Democracy. उसमें election management bodies. It means in our country it is Election Commission of India. In some other country it could be somebody else. So now what they are saying is, it is saying that the election management bodies are saying that before elections generally these platforms are used for spreading rumors or fake news. Abhi, what are the legal provisions for fake news? लगा लो जल्दी 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 बनो. नीचे पूरा एक लिस्ट दिया है, but you try to. What are the legal provisions? I told you every word you should know minimum 6 dimensions to it, and the most important dimensions out of those 6 dimensions is the legal dimension. You should know if there is a word in news, fake news, what are the social implications, what are the political implications, what are the economic implications, what are the legal implications, what are the ethical implications, what are the environmental implications. These you should know, and out of all, because you are wanting to become bureaucrats, you should clearly know the legal implications. Very, very important. It says that legal remedies to tackle fake news are there in the Indian Broadcast Foundation. Please Google about this. Very important institution, Indian Broadcast Foundation. Then it says that the Press Council of India. In Press Council of India, hyphen लिख के which sections or rules of the Press Council of India talk about fake news. उसका एक article बनाओ. Then IPC, yes, 153 is there and 295 is also there. 295 is related to. अरे यार मैं मर जाऊंगा यार. हाँ, लास्ट वीक पढ़ा. सब चर्सी हो यार एक नंबर के. खा के आते हो. लास्ट वीक पढ़ाया तो था 295 on blasphemy. What is the difference between blasphemy and hate speech? Particularly against religion. Fake news can be against anything. It could be against a race, against gender, against any marginalized section in the society. It could be anything. Okay. Then broadcasting content complaint council, BCCC. Please Google about this entity also. Broadcasting content complaint council. This is trying to keep a check on which platform. Please try to do it. Defamation suit. Defamation suit, what is the section? Defamation suit. Please Google defamation. Who all can apply and where all the first case can be applied against defamation? What is the constitutional stand on defamation? The recent case of defamation किसका था? अरुण जेटली and अरविंद केजरीवाल. बेचारा जेटली चला गया तो केस भी चला गया. हाँ. Then the IT Act, fake news. Which section? 69A. IT Act, not 66A. 69A, not 66A. Don't get confused. Contempt of court. And lastly the, and why only constitution लिख के छोड़ दिया? Why constitution लिख के छोड़ दिया? हाँ. Where in the constitution? Fake news. हाँ. 19 में नहीं है. 19(2) does not contain anything related to fake news. Box बनाओ जल्दी. The principles of constitution. The principles of constitution that try to curb fake news. The principles of constitution or the articles of constitution that try to curb the fake news. Don't do it now. Once you go back home. What they are saying is, see. See, in India, no, yesterday I posted an article in the group. What was the title? On the worship of devotion. There was an article in Indian Express yesterday which I posted, the worship of devotion, where the godman, this guy is on parole, no? Who? Baba Ram Rahim is on parole for 40 days. Okay? The moment he came out, he made one video. That video got 40 lakh views in 1 hour. A person who is convicted for rape and murder got 40 lakh views in 1 hour. Where is the nation heading? समझ रहे हो? It means that despite the fact that the judiciary has condemned somebody, convicted somebody for a heinous crime, still the society accepts him. Why the society accepts him is the question to ponder. Where is your education system leading to you? When you said 70% of the population is literate today, education and literacy are completely different dimension. Literate today, it means that our literacy dimensions are big failure. If 40 lakh views people are getting in an hour, it means that despite the fact that he has been convicted for 2 heinous crimes, it means that we are driven more by, not religious only, we are driven more by why it is? Come again, कौन? See the video, next week we will discuss. See the video. Increase. it even if the chalo, what is your intention, Hemant? Are you made a statement, na? You inquisitiveness will take. We'll take inquisitiveness as the reason. It means that your mind is tuned to know what is wrong. Before he made this video, did you find out who was the reporter whom he got killed? Did you bother to know who is the victim, the female devotee, minor female devotee who was the victim? You were not bothered for them. So means your mind is trained and designed to catch or see. That's what I said in probably the last class only, no? One tribal minor girl was a victim of rape. There were 100 men standing next to her. She is lying in a pool of blood. Instead of helping her, people are doing what? Photos and posting it on the social media. Where have your ethical dimensions gone? Do you even justify to be called as human beings in that case? Where is your mind going? Where is your ethical dimension going? All gone for a toss. So it only showcases in the dimension of evolution, the graph is going down. If somebody is telling some sermons, good things to do, he will not get those views. Why he is getting those views? It means that in the societal dimensions, the ethical dimension is going down. Simple. And no amount of literacy is able to bring this up. Even if it is inquisitiveness, then it is inquisitiveness to know some things which are wrong. Though the algorithms support, I understand. The algorithms support. YouTube is earning money. YouTube is earning money. But if he's got 40 lakh views or say 10 crore views by now, for example, who got the money? And if you get 10 crore views or 20 crore views, you have no idea how much amount of money you will get. It is beyond your imagination, the amount of money that you will get. Big media houses per month get from YouTube in crores as their earning, because YouTube shares the revenue generated out of streaming that particular video. So that is how you tend to get. There is something known as parasite faming. If some big issue happened, you just pick up some content, 10 seconds ka content, and make a statement. Ke dekho, only 10 seconds. Maybe if that is viewed in the last 3 minutes or 4 minutes, it would not have been that negative. But you pick up only the 10 seconds and post it. People will start seeing what Hemant said. My intention could be something else. Your intention was never to read chapter 4 of Gita, no? Bhagavad Gita. You never read. How many chapters are there if I ask you? None of you will be able to tell. What is the best chapter of Bhagavad Gita? None of you will be able to tell. If I ask you about Tulsidas, Kabir, zero knowledge. Yes or no? Why? Because your intention never went to study that. Why Tulsidas became one of the greatest philosophers of life? He was a destitute. You understand destitute? Kabir was a victim of the Varna system. Tulsidas was a victim of destitution. Khane ko khana nahi hai. He was, whatever the left food in the mandir, he was surviving on that. He is known to be the biggest philosophers of life. Just see where these people are coming from. They are not coming from the pockets of comfort. No, they are coming from there. Kabir, the Holy Granth has taken so much dimensions from Kabir. See, Kabir is a Muslim. Yes or no? Huh? Nah, that's the problem. One more dimension. We can't say whether he was actually a Muslim or not. That is also debatable. But despite the fact, another religion is talking about the teachings of another person. So just try to understand the dimensions at that particular level. Do not go beyond things which are not for you. So the crux of this particular article is, what it says is the effects influencing opinions. It means before any elections, the fake news will go ahead because they want to influence the opinion of the people. That is one dimension. Second, the issue of fake news during elections. during 2016 US presidential elections, a bipartisan Senate committee found that before and after the 16 elections, the Russian government used social media advertising to spread misinformation and conspiracy theories. So before and during and after the elections, you will find the incidents of fake news going very high. This is the crux, but the most important paragraph for us is the legal remedies available to particularly tackle the fake news. That is important for you. As lawmakers, you should be aware of that. Yeah, the next is on IT rules 2021. IT rules 2021. What were the major amendments? Recently, the IT rules were amended. Last amendment IT Act का कब हुआ था? 2012. Last amendment was done in the year 2012. उसके बाद 2021 में amendment हुआ. Come to the major amendments part. It says that the grounds in Rule 3, 1b and 2 have been rationalized by removing the words defamatory and libellous. Whether any content is defamatory or libellous will be determined only through a judicial review. It means if at all something in the IT Act, and now where he is talking about defamation, where he is talking about defamation, किधर हो रहा है? When it is IT Act, it means it is happening on the cyberspace. Can I use this term? It is happening on the cyberspace. That is why the IT Act has been amended in this particular dimension. Now, when he is saying that if a particular act is an act of defamation or not, it is not the individual, it is not the social media, it is not the news channel or any media that will decide. It will be decided by the court. This is one. And he is one more. What is the meaning of libellous? Huh? Libellous. L-I-B-E. What is the statement? The statement reads, the ground have been rationalized by removing the words defamatory and libellous. Whether any content is defamatory or libellous will be determined through judicial review. What is the meaning of this word? Libellous. Because it is with defamatory, don't say that it is bad word. Public matlab? In what sense? Based on research? उदय इतना टाइम क्यों लग रहा है? अखिल.
Making false or unfair statements that are likely to damage the reputation of a person or organization.
See, you can become famous by talking wrong about a famous person. Pawan, you can become famous by talking wrong about a person. Say for example, in your neighborhood there is a rich family and you are a middle class family, Alto car, he's got Benz. Now, one is you can appreciate in 2 generations only, from nothing they became something or many things, right? But what you will say, before 2 generations their father used to sell ice creams on the road, they have done definitely something wrong. That is the reason why they have become rich. So if you are making such statements, then your statement is libellous in nature. It means that it is intended to bring somebody down in reputation. That is what it is. You remember there was one group discussion between Sai Deepak and this guy Shashi Tharoor. Shashi Tharoor की एक किताब आई थी, Why I Am a Hindu. साई दीपक ने उसका पोस्टमार्टम ऐसे किया, उसको समझ में नहीं आया कि कहाँ देखना है शशि थरूर को. He brought so many dimensions in his book which are incorrect. And what was he trying to do? He was trying to bring him down in reputation in some dimensions. So that is why it is a libellous. Now, whether the intention was to bring your reputation down or not is the court that will decide whether it was a real intent was there or not. If it was only fault finding, then it is not libellous. There has to be an intention to bring the reputation of that person down, then only it will be called libellous. L-I-B-E-L-L-O-U-S. Okay? It is not fault finding. Some of the content categories in Rule 31B have been rephrased to deal particularly with misinformation and content that could incite violence between different religious / caste groups. Okay? Misinformation and content that could incite violence. Currently, intermediaries, who are these intermediaries? Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, they are all intermediaries. Currently, intermediaries are only required to inform users about not uploading certain categories of harmful / unlawful content. However, these amendments impose a legal obligation on intermediaries to take reasonable efforts to prevent users from uploading such content. The new provision will ensure that the intermediary's obligation is not a mere formality. It means they need to make deliberate effort to ensure that. When did you get any message from WhatsApp last time that you need to follow these categories of instructions when you use WhatsApp? Did you get any message? No. It means that they are looking at this as a formality, but all the contents are there in WhatsApp. If you open the WhatsApp, go to settings and see certain dimensions, everything is there. But is WhatsApp in the morning sending you a message, please read the privacy policy? Is there any mechanism? No. It means they are also using it as a formality, because what will happen if repeated reminders are given to you as your behavior on the social media, you may stop using that particular social media. And on top of it, if you are doing something wrong, is somebody watching me? That question will rise in your mind. So that is why. Okay? Then grievance appellate committees, very, very important. This grievance appellate committees has been very strongly objected to. The committees will be established to allow users to appeal against the inaction of or decisions taken by the intermediaries on user complaints. However, users will always have the right to approach the courts for any remedies. If you remember one of the articles, again Indian Express article, they spoke against these grievance appellate committees. They said that why a government appointed body should have the appellate powers. It is basically always the court or institutions that should be responsible for appellate. In PMLA, which is the appellate authority? Appellate authority, adjudicating authority, appellate authority. It is court. ED से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. कौन बोला को ED? Establishing the adjudicating authority, establishing the appellate. What is adjudicating authority? Court. अरे तुम साला वर्ड से कंफ्यूज हो जाते हो. What is the meaning of this word adjudicating? The one who presides over your case. Your judge adjudicates. Adjudicate, judge does the adjudication. Appellation, once he gives his adjudication, you are not satisfied. You say, I want to appeal. Okay, go to appellate authority. So now, in these cases, government appointed appellate. So government appellate committees. So this is what the grievance appellate committees, they are government representatives. Then that article said, in which there was criticism of boundaries, they said, how can a government person be responsible for taking appellation? It should not so happen. It means that the government is directly controlling that media house. Yes or no? So that is what the article was against that. Though this is, now a question can come. Please make a question. Mains. Discuss how the recently amendment IT Act, discuss how the recently amendment IT Act is both in favor of government control. Discuss how the IT Act 2021, amendment to the IT Act 2021 is both in favor of government control and also liberation from its control, and also ensuring liberation from its control. Ensuring liberation from its control. Very important. There is a word called SMIs here. Relevant rules of the platform. The original IT rule 2021 obligated the SMIs. SMI stand for social media intermediaries. Okay. The original IT rules obligated the SMIs to merely inform its users of the rules and regulations how that governed its platforms, along with categories of content that users are prohibited from hosting, displaying, sharing, etc. on the platform. This obligation on the SMIs has now been extended to ensuring that its users are in compliance with the relevant rules of platform. Earlier it was only intimation. Even after intimation, if you are not following the rules, they were not responsible. But now that responsibility has been extended to. Respecting the fundamental rights, the amendment requires the intermediaries to respect the rights guaranteed to the users under the Constitution, including a reasonable expectation of due diligence, privacy and transparency. So actually the social media platforms are in big trouble here. They want everything to be done. Very difficult. Yeah, next. Important from prelims perspective, I am expecting one question minimum next year. It is about the right to vote of NRI. Who is an NRI? हाँ, कौन बोलेगा? Who is an NRI? Not the full form. लिखिता. हाँ? हाँ. हाँ.
Person who has acquired citizenship of any foreign country.
What is this 182?
182 days in India.
Ah, the word is less than 182 days in India is a non-resident India. Now we are talking about the right to vote of, right to vote is a fundamental right or constitutional right? It is a constitutional right. शायद prelims में भी पूछा है. आज था prelims में? It was there? Yeah. Right to vote is not a fundamental right. It is a constitutional right. That is the reason why certain categories of individuals are restricted from voting. Categories of individuals restricted from voting. Who are they? Categories of individuals who are restricted from voting, who are not allowed to vote. Categories of individuals who are restricted from voting. हाँ, कौन है? कौन कौन? Okay. PIO तो हटा दिया बेटा, अभी नहीं है. 2015 के बाद there is no PIO now. The overseas citizens of India are, हाँ, those who are in jail. हाँ? हम मेंटली स्टेबल है कि कौन सा अच्छा चुन लिए रे? जो अनस्टेबल वाले का राइट भी ले ले रहे हो तुम लोग. Please make a list and write. Please make a list. Important. ठीक है? These are funny questions that are asked in interviews. In that panic situation, no, if you have not prepared for these kind of answers, nothing will come to your mind. Then you will say, sir, I am not eligible to vote. प्लीज़ मेरे को बाहर जाने दो. ठीक है, and you will understand certain dimensions there only. ठीक है. Now recently the union government told the Supreme Court that it was considering ways to facilitate non-resident Indians, especially migrant laborers, to cast their votes. Migrant laborers, especially. Why is the government bothered about migrant laborers? Because the numbers is more. Simple. Because the numbers is more. Yeah, especially in the Middle East and the Arab countries. Okay, numbers is. They are not talking about you going to IT job. They are not bothered. Okay, they are more bothered about the migrant laborers because they are more in numbers. Okay, Representation of People's Amendment Bill of 2017. See, the intended amendment was to enable the overseas electors to appoint a proxy to cast vote on behalf of such electors. Proxy means there was a word in news, no? Remote voting. This was also in news. Remote voting. Remote voting. Proxy voting is basically, if say I am the overseas Indian citizen, OIC, and she is my friend, I will tell, okay, go and cast on my behalf. Now the problem comes is, how will it be justified that what I have told to her is what you call established in the court of law, just in case? And secondly, how it is confirmed that she actually did that voting only? This is second dimension to be, because voter verifiable paper audit trail में ऐसा कुछ आता है क्या? बनाओ बॉक्स बनाओ. Can we come to know through VVPAT whom I have voted is displayed? Voter verifiable paper audit trail. ठीक है. Can I as a normal citizen also ask for a VVPAT? I go to vote, I pressed one button, I wanted a confirmation that whether my vote went to that person or that party or not. Can I find out is my question. हाँ प्लीज वो प्रोसीजर लिखो. फॉर द फ्रेशर्स, ये सब पुराने घोड़े हैं. ठीक है, फ्रेशर्स. Can I find out? And if it is yes, how? If it is no, why? ठीक है. Can I find out whom I have voted to? The bill has proposed the removal of an unreasonable restriction posed by, very very important, section 20A of what? The Representation of the People's Act. Section 20A of the Representation of the People Act, which mandates that the overseas electors to be physically present. When in you know what is the strength of NRIs today? Strength of Indian NRIs, distribution of Indian NRIs, templates banao. I am telling you, if you do not make templates, UPSC mein you are only extending your UPSC stay in ASHOKNAGAR. Please make. What is the strength of NRIs? Displacement of NRIs, where all they are spread. What are the categories of workforce where they are spread? What is the areas they are spread? What is the revenue that they are sending to your countries every year? Which are the governments with which we have what you call agreements to safeguard the interests of your OICs, overseas Indian citizens? All these dimensions should come in that particular one template. If you know, in 2019 elections, 25,000 NRIs actually came to India only for voting. Only for voting, 25,000 spirited citizens. No, हमारे से घर से उठ के पोलिंग बूथ तक नहीं जाया गया, but they went. So there could be some what you call reasons, but notwithstanding that, but 25,000 people came to vote, physically came to vote only for that purpose. ఎవరు బాబు, మనమే పెట్టుకోవాలా? రెవెన్యూ రావడం ఏంట్రా? ఫ్లైట్ టికెట్ ఎవరి ఫ్లైట్ అయితే వాడికి వెళ్తుంది. ఒరే యూఏవి నుంచి నేను వచ్చాను, యూఏవి ఫ్లైట్ ఎమిరేట్స్ ఫ్లైట్లో వచ్చాను, డబ్బులు ఎవరికి వచ్చాయి? పవన్, డోంట్ లీవ్ మీ. Next 10 minutes I will leave you, don't worry. Though he will not leave me very soon, but still. What is the current status? After passing of the Representation of People Amendment Act 2010, NRIs who had stayed abroad beyond 6 months have been able to vote, but only in person at the polling station where they have been enrolled as an overseas elector. It means that before 2010, NRIs did not have the right to vote. Are yes or no? With me or not? Please make a right. Before 2010, NRIs were not allowed to vote. If a statement comes, the NRIs got right to vote only after 2010, it is a right statement. However, only a very low proportion of overseas residents actually registered or turned up to vote. The provision of having to visit the polling booth in person has discouraged the eligible voters from exercising their mandate. The Conduct of Election Rules 1961 was amended in 2016. It was amended to allow the service voters to use the electronically transmitted postal ballot system. Who are the service? Who are the service people? Who are the service people? Army people who are on the UN missions and all, United Nations missions, no? Now another question, in how many countries our soldiers are serving under the United Nations mission? How many countries our soldiers are serving under the UN missions? Mostly we are concentrated, our presence as part of the UN mission is concentrated where? All these dimensions you try to write. Under this system, the postal ballots are sent electronically to registered service voters. The service voters can then register their mandate on the ballot and send it back via ordinary mail. The ECI proposed to extend these facilities to overseas voters as well, right? Their address mentioned in the passport is taken as a place of ordinary residence and chosen as the constituency for the overseas voters to enroll in. Please underline this line, very important. This point can be used to confuse you. A centralized constituency will be maintained. It is the address that you have mentioned in the what you call passport. Then the ETPBS, electronically transmitted postal ballot system, allowed for greater turnout. With increasing mobility of citizens across countries for reasons related to work, the postal ballot method has been recognized by, please underline, International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. Question is expected on this next year in prelims. International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, an intergovernmental organization that works to support democratic processes and institutions. Their funding pattern, their structure, please Google. As a means to allow overseas voters to exercise their right subject to certain conditions normally related to the time spent abroad or the work carried out abroad. A postal ballot mechanism that allows for proper authentication of the ballot at designated, underline the word, consular embassy offices and an effective postal system should ease this process for NRIs. It means instead of they coming to India to vote, they can report to their respective embassies or consulate officers to exercise their particular vote wherever they are residing. But rules must be clearly framed for eligibility on the basis of time spent away from the country. You are saying an NRI is a person who has spent less than 182 days in your country. Now, but you are not telling isko kitne saal ho gaya ja karke. If he is gone for 10 years, you are not saying anything. If he has gone for 5 years, you are not saying anything. So the rules have to be very clearly specified. See, there are various ways. Your citizenship is intact till such time you have not taken citizenship of another country. I hope you are clear. Or yes or no? Your citizenship is intact till such time you have applied and got the citizenship of another country. But can you be a citizen of America and India both? Right? So you can be an NRI. Even if you are NRI, you are still the citizen of India. It is only your residential status that is non-resident India. you still continue to be the citizen of this particular country. In 2018 or 19 there was a question on this dimension. They brought, at that was time when this NPS came, new pension scheme, no, new pension scheme, उसमें एक bit था, the bit was NRIs are not eligible under NPS. 90% of the students ticked it right. When it is very clear NRI is only less than 182, next year you can come back, no? So how can you tell an NRI is ineligible for NPS? It is only a matter of time, he come back next year, so he will become eligible. So his NPS contribution can happen in that particular dimension. So ऐसा confuse करने के सवाल पूछेगा, don't worry. This will cover this last point, aceclofenac. Then we will close today's discussion. ये next time I will try to cover, but they are important. The CPEC is self-explanatory. I actually wanted to cover the biosphere reserve and the CPEC are self-explanatory. The ITR forms wala I wanted to actually cover. Please read the CPEC and the biospheres on your own. Biosphere important, very very important. One question might definitely come up from the environmental perspective in biosphere. When you read the biosphere wala article, if you just open that article, I'll just try to tell you how questions will be asked to confuse you. Say for example, in the about the biosphere reserves, immediately in the next page when you flip over, there are 738 biosphere reserves in 134 countries, including 22 transboundary sites. It means that they are spread across different countries also, borders. They are distributed as follows. Now this is very important. They are distributed as follows में जो 5 point है उसका एक box बनाओ, because they may ask which continent has the maximum biosphere reserves. It is the Europe and North America, because you may fall for Africa. So यहाँ पे थोड़ा ध्यान रखना. Pakistan has a biosphere reserve. Yes. Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh do not have any biosphere reserve. Now write a question. Biosphere reserves in Pakistan and Afghanistan, दोनों नाम थोड़ा लिखने की कोशिश करो. Wildlife sanctuaries are there, but biosphere reserve, because the classification of biosphere reserve committee setting up, they coming, visiting, maybe they did not allow others to come. मेरे को जो लगता है, it is lack of will from their side. See, much better country when taking care of nature, right? But there will be some dimensions why they are not having a wildlife sanctuary. And all the 12 wildlife sanctuaries, 2 dimensions you should be aware. Which state is one dimension, and there are some wildlife sanctuaries which are spread across states. So which are those 2 states or 3 states which are sharing the biosphere reserves geographically, that you should be aware, because confusing questions पूछेगा. And the recent additions of the biosphere reserves, which are the recent additions to our biosphere reserves, that also should be known to you. Questions will come on that. The state that has maximum biosphere reserves, that also should be known to you. The state that has maximum biosphere reserves, and in the biosphere reserves you should be aware of the structure of the biosphere reserves also, the core, the buffer and the transition zone. When you talk about a biosphere reserve, this is the core zone in center, then you have a buffer zone, then you have a transition zone, right? So now you should be aware what activities are allowed where in these 3 zones, where human interference is allowed, where human interference is not allowed, where certain research dimensions are allowed, where it is not allowed. All these dimensions should be known to you. Okay, very important. Now one more dimension here is, if you see the nominations ka line, what is the first line? The governments alone decide which areas to nominate. Maybe Bhutan is not nominating itself, maybe. ठीक है. What is the use of being listed as a biosphere reserve? What is the use?
Funded by
It is all about, ठीक है, very important, ठीक है, dollar. चलो, come back to that aceclofenac. What is this aceclofenac? Again in news, diclofenac का छोटा भाई है ये. हाँ, छोटा भाई है, बड़ा भाई? छोटा भाई है. Any doctor here? Doctor or zoology, biology, botany, BPC types? अरे मैडम है ना? ए BPC. अच्छा, इसका BPC टेस्ट करते हैं. There is a word. It is the prodrug. What is a prodrug? What is a prodrug? Hey, botany. Prodrug कौन बताएगा? BPC types, raise your hand. Hey, BPCs. बोलो मैडम. People don't own up, no? When I ask a law related question, any legal side, they will not own up. What is a prodrug? A prodrug is a drug which is actually an inactive compound. Moment it is administered, then only when it reacts with your body fluids, that is when it acts as a drug. It is called a prodrug. When diclofenac was banned by the government, so they came, obviously the scientists will have to do some research, no? Diclofenac was basically used for as a pain relief for animals. So now what happens, once the animal dies, the presence of diclofenac was still present in the carcass of that animal, and the vultures were feeding on it, and it is said that 99% of vultures population in Asia, not India, in Asia declined because of consuming the carcass of animals that were fed with diclofenac tablets. So 99% of the vultures, the death of vultures is a bad sign to the ecosystem, because you are losing a natural scavenger. A scavenger is an animal or a bird that can clean your last stage of dead animal or anything, right? So that is why the death of natural scavenger will result in increased presence of bacterial growth, right? So that is the reason why it was harmful. So immediately the government banned. Now the moment the government banned diclofenac, people started researching and they got a prodrug called aceclofenac, and now the government has demanded the Indian Veterinary Research Institute, इसका location किधर है जरा पता करो. Please Google about the location of this institute. Indian Veterinary Research Institute has demanded a ban on using aceclofenac in cattle after a new study showed that the drug is metabolized into diclofenac. Metabolized means after it is interacting with the molecules of the body in buffaloes, it is metabolizing itself as a diclofenac. So again, whatever 1% of the vultures are left, if they feed on this carcass which is fed with aceclofenac, the same result they will die. ठीक है? वाइल्ड इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडिया, इसके बारे में भी गूगल करो. वाइल्ड इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडिया, प्लीज गूगल अबाउट दिस ऑल्सो. But no action has been taken so far. So we have come to the end of today's discussion, except for the last article that I will discuss in the next class, ITR, though otherwise it is self-explanatory. One box is very important, the kinds of ITR forms that are now available. This word was in news. Please Google about this word also, Saral. It is not a form, ITR में सरल is not the name of the form. Name of the form is Sahaj, SAHAJ. The ITR form 1, which is meant for small and medium taxpayers. Such forms can be filed by individuals who have an income up to 50 lakhs. ठीक है? With earnings from salary, one house property, other sources. If you get UPSC, you will take years, maybe you will not get also 50 lakh. What is the salary of cabinet secretary? 2 lakh. तो इसमें 50% भी नहीं आया बेचारे. 25 lakhs हुआ ना, 2,50,000 कितना हुआ? 30 lakhs maximum, 30 lakhs. So you will end up filling up ITR 1 only throughout your life. ठीक है? ITR 2 is filed by people with income from residential property. 3, who have income as profits from business and profession. 4 for Sugam is like ITR 1 Sahaj, simple forms and can be filed by individuals, Hindu undivided families and firms with total income up to 50 lakhs from business and profession. This is for individuals and Hindu undivided families. ITR 5 and 6 are for limited liable partnerships and businesses respectively. ITR 7 is for trust and not paying tax is different. Filing of ITR files is different. Hello. The trusts and the non-profit organizations, even if they are not paying any tax, they are duty bound to file the ITR. Please write. The non-profit organizations or the trust may be exempted from paying tax, but they are compelled to file the ITR. They are compelled to file the ITR. Okay?
They don't find that donors will not get the exemption.
Huh?
Undivided families, like why specifically?
What is an Hindu undivided family? Huh? What? अरे कोई कॉमर्स का बच्चा है इधर? कोई है कॉमर्स का बच्चा? हाँ, खुशवंत सिंह कॉमर्स का बच्चा है. हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली कौन बताएगा? हाँ, when a business in which the entire family is contributing in the various processes, it is called an Hindu undivided family for the purpose of taxation and for the purpose of regulation, where in this you have to specify who is the head of the family. This has to be certified. So for them separate dimension they have opened. Okay? Because it is, see earlier if you see these, what you call small scale industries, they are generally run by the Hindu undivided families, because there are a lot of possibility of controversies. Undivided family में possibility as such ज़्यादा हो जाता है. ठीक है? So no, it is, though the word is Hindu undivided family, basically the choice of word could be, not from the religious perspective. It is not from a religious perspective. It is not seen. Even if you are a Muslim family in a similar business, you will be governed by this. Civil law, no? So civil law is not an issue. Unless and until it is criminal law. जब तक तुम्हारी 4 शादी की बात नहीं आएगी, तब तक कोई controversy नहीं आएगा. ठीक? Yeah. Why in the first place do you think in Islam this dimension of 4 marriages would have been there?
Because they are subjected to a lot of wars.
Not subjected to, the men parties, because Islam, if you see that time frame, see the rules and regulations or the practices of any religion, they have a very specific mention of that time and space, reflection of that specific mention of that time and space. This was the time when Islam was trying to spread across the globe, because that time democracy was not there, there was no process of election or something, so it was all invasions. So what was happening is when men were going to what you call wars and not returning, so the death rate among the men was very high, and if you leave a woman unmarried in the society, there are a lot of negative implications to that. So that is how they codified in their personal law that a man can marry up to 4 women as wife. So that is how it has a time and space dimension to it. So when we are talking about bringing that uniform civil code, that is when India argues that this is not it is not matching with the contemporary times. This is the time when the women population is lesser than men, and if in this scenario if you allow 1:4, then probably the other sections will get negatively affected. So you need to understand these things from time and space dimension. Okay? Yeah. Anything what we have discussed, anybody having any doubt, please ask.
Sir, IT Act లో section 69A అని చెప్పారు కదా, అంటే not 66A.
66A ఏంటి క్లాస్లో ఉన్నావా?
అదే డిఫరెన్స్ ఏందని అడుగుతున్నాను సార్, 66A కి 69A కి.
గూగుల్ చేసి నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్లో చెప్పు. 66Aకి 69Aకి తేడా ఏంటి? Who will tell? What is the difference between 66A and 69A? तुम लोगों से अल्टरनेटिवली मैं इधर खड़ा करके क्लास दिलवाना शुरू कर दूंगा, तभी दैट कॉन्फिडेंस टू स्पीक विल कम. हाँ पानी. Accounts of 69A is related to IT Act 69A is related to no 66A Supreme Court has removed it. Basically there was a, what is the name of the case? Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, wherein the IT Act 66A prohibited people from using IT as a source to express their opinion about somebody. So there was this girl Shreya Singhal karke, this girl wrote something against Shiv Sena, something had happened in Maharashtra, she wrote something about them, so this girl was arrested by the government for using either derogatory language or something against the government. So the Supreme Court finally said that you cannot restrict the freedom of speech of somebody person until provided under article subsection 19 subsection 2. If that is not case, you cannot do that. So that is how 66A of the IT Act was abolished by the Supreme Court. Okay? But 69A ఏంటి అన్నది గూగుల్ చేయి, సరేనా? Anything else?
సార్ ఎన్ఆర్ఐస్ ఓట్ వేయకపోతే వాళ్ళ ఓటు హక్కు పోవడం కానీ సిటిజన్షిప్ పోవడం కానీ ఏమన్నా జరిగిందా?
Very good question. What will happen if you do not vote in 2 consecutive national elections? ऐसा मत बोल रहे. They are considered dead. Good question. What will happen if you do not vote for 2 consecutive elections, general elections? They will lose citizenship. कौन था रे? There is an obligation to cast your vote. I hope you are aware. No obligation? नहीं? Voluntary. Okay. But there is no obligation that you have to vote for Modi only. Achha, you don't. There is no obligation to participate in the electoral process. Okay? There is no obligation. Nobody can force you to vote. Neither as a fundamental duty also. In the fundamental duty कहीं लिखा है you have to compulsorily go to vote and you have to vote only Modi, ऐसा कुछ लिखा है क्या? नहीं लिखा है. Good. But what will happen if you do not vote for 2 consecutive general elections? What will happen to your candidature of? What will happen? Firstly, who will come to know that you have become eligible to vote? How the updating of the voter list is done? I am not talking about the updating of the constituent assemblies. No, I am talking about the updating of the voter list. See, you were 17 years this year, you became 18 years next year, right? So, who is updating that record, that when you are going to the, so it is doing it on its own? Then we need to apply. Once you apply, say you became 18. So, when you turned 19, the first election came, general election came. You did not participate. You applied, you got a voter ID card. You did not vote in 2019. 2024 comes, you did not vote. When in 2029, when you go to voting, what will happen? You missed 2 consecutive elections, no? 2019 and 2024, both. Hopefully, the Modi government or whosoever will come to power, I am not deciding Modi will, win. Whosoever comes to power, will assume 29th tak he stays in power. So, next election is due in 2029. You go to vote. The Election Commission of India official says, sir, something has happened. Please go and get this thing done and come back. What does that mean? %99% chances. If you do not go to vote, 99, I am not making a statement, there are chances that somebody will vote. It is not proxy voting. Proxy voting is positive dimension. Take it?
ఏమంటారు దాన్ని రెగ్గింగ్ చేసి సమ్మన్ అది ఎవరో వేసేసి వెళ్ళిపోతారు కదా అర్థం కాదా
Why he is so excited? He is getting excited. Sir, rigging జరుగుతుంది పదండి వెళ్దాము. ఊపులో ఉన్నాడు. చలో టైం అయిపోయింది వాళ్ళు బాగా. ఐ హావ్ టేకన్ కింద చెప్తాను నీకు క్లాస్లో చెప్తే రికార్డింగ్ జరుగుతుంది. Please Google what will happen if you do not participate in 2 consecutive elections, whether your candidature will get cancelled or it has to be renewed or some particular formality has to be done so that you become eligible to vote. Please. And what is the procedure to change your constituency? These things you should know as citizen, not as UPSC students. If you shift your permanent residence from place A to place B as a result of marriage, as a result of you have flown from this country or within the country for work, what is the procedure to change your constituency of election? Are you supposed to do, or you will be duty bound to go back to your original constituency only and vote there? Please, Election Commission of India ka website kholo, see the amount of information that is there, not from UPSC perspective only, from general understanding perspective. So many things to learn. Please. One site is Election Commission of India that you should be seeing, and one more site is Ministry of External Affairs. ये दोनों के साइट को बीच बीच में विजिट किया करो. These 2 sites. One is Election Commission of India and one more site I will suggest, SEBI. SEBI का site visit करो at regular intervals. In RBI site FAQs visit करो. Frequently asked questions in RBI site. Lot of information would be there. In the FAQs of RBI, lot of information would be there. And in the Ministry of External Affairs, this information, and in the Ministry of Home, Internal Affairs का एक department है, Internal Security Department, उसमें lot of information at times is there. Please read through them. Yeah, anybody, any doubts? Chalo, thank you very much guys, bye bye.